and he just grabs the other guy and goes. You messed up and lost her. She's mine, and I won't mess it up. Can you believe the nerve? Sounds exactly like my neighbor Gary talking about his stolen lawn gnome.
For the 10th time, that's a direct quote from the book. Indigo Ridge. It's not about Gary's ceramic fishing dwarf. And it's arguably the thematic crux of the male protagonist's possessive arc. However problematic.
Problematic. It's hot. Anyway, welcome back to Heartbook Radio, the only book show brave enough to admit we sometimes skim the descriptions. Today we're diving face first into Indigo Ridge by Devney Perry, which, I'm pretty sure, is based on a true story about how everyone in Montana is secretly related and sleeping together.
It is absolutely not a true story. It's a contemporary romantic suspense novel set in Quincy, Montana. A fictional town with fictional people. Though their decision-making processes are, admittedly, baffling enough to seem real. Almost as baffling as your continued insistence that 50 Shades had literary merit.
Oh, here we go. Mister, I only read Prost, secretly highlighted passages in his copy. I saw the Kindle notes. Don't lie to the listeners.
It was for academic deconstruction. Now, can we discuss the actual characters in Indigo Ridge? Let's start with Winslow Covington, our new chief of police.
Chief idiot, more like. Rolls into town first night, doesn't know anyone. Bam. Backseat rodeo in a pickup truck with some random dude. Honey, have some standards. My friend Brenda did that once after 3 tequila shots and woke up missing a shoe and her dignity. Winslow wakes up basically straddling the prime suspect's brother.
It wasn't the prime suspect's brother. It was Griffin Eden, scion of the town's founding family, on whose property a dead body conveniently appears the very next morning. While Winslow's judgment is questionable, one could argue it establishes her as an outsider, unconstrained by pre-existing loyalties, even if accidentally. Plus, let's not ignore the blatant nepotism. Her grandfather is the mayor who hired her.
Oh, totally. Nepo baby cop and Griffin. Textbook toxic cowboy syndrome. All brooding silence and she's mine. Caveman talk. He's like my ex, Chad, but with better hair and probably more cows. Chad just had questionable opinions and a vape pen. This Griffin guy runs a whole ranch dynasty, and apparently, and according to the reviews I read, because I do my research, he had quite the active social life before Winslow showed up. A real saddle, saw Casanova.
While the text implies a certain pre-heroine history, focusing on such salacious speculation detracts from analyzing his role as the protective, albeit initially distrusting, counterpoint to Winslow's investigation. He embodies the town's resistance.
Resistance? He just wanted round 2. Let's be real. The only thing these two agreed on initially was probably, well, you know. And can we talk about the townies? They're like Stepford Wives meets a lynch mob. Oh, it's just a suicide, little lady chief. Don't you worry your pretty little nepotism high head about it. Creepy.
The collective antagonism towards Winslow does create a palpable sense of isolation, heightening the suspense. But the writing itself, some reviewers mention being traumatized by the phrase, velvet steel. What does that even mean?
Velvet steel. Sounds like something you'd find in the back of that creepy catalogue you keep denying you get. Probably describes his or maybe her personality, like she's soft but also metallic. Oh, I bet that reviewer who solved the murder by page 85 just skipped to the end, cheater.
The pacing did drag in the middle. I concede. It oscillated wildly between romantic tension and procedural investigation, satisfying neither fully. I received an email, forwarded by production, from a concerned listener, asking, and I quote, regarding the initial truck encounter, what are the recommended hygiene protocols?
Ha! See, practical questions. Probably none. Another listener. Brenda loves books and tequila. Wait, is that MY Brenda? Emailed saying she was furious it was mostly fade to black. She said, and I quote, "If I wanted vague descriptions of feelings, I'd read your poetry."
I do not write poetry, and the level of graphic detail is irrelevant to the narrative thrust. This book attempts a genre blend, and like most such attempts, it flounders. The mystery element felt predictable. The insistence on suicide was transparently obstructive. Yet, the depiction of small town Montana felt atmospheric.
Okay, fine. The cowboy was hot, grumpy, possessive, probably smells like hay and questionable decisions. My brand. But Winslow, you know what? She is an idiot. She's the chief. She needed rescuing at the end like some damsel in a wet t-shirt contest. What happened to Velvet Steel? More like wet noodle.
The climax was narratively convenient, undermining her established competence. It's a common trope I despise. If Winslow Covington were a sandwich, she'd be a meticulously crafted artisanal panini that someone dropped on the floor before the first bite.
Nah, she's a gas station tuna melt. Looks okay from a distance, but up close, risky business. Griffin, he's that ridiculously oversized burger challenge sandwich. Looks impressive, probably tastes amazing for 5 minutes. Then you spend the rest of the night regretting it.
That is hardly a useful metric, right? Ratings. Your final, deeply unserious verdict.
Ignoring the questionable hygiene and the fact that Winslow needs a refresher course in Basic Cop Safety 101. The sheer drama. I give Indigo Ridge 3 out of 5 suspicious stains on pickup truck upholstery.
Utterly nonsensical. For its atmospheric potential, tragically undermined by procedural idiocy and romantic clichés. A deeply flawed 4 out of 10 violations of the public trust.
Ooh, harsh. Almost as harsh as your review of 50 Shades.
We are not discussing that again. Join us next week, if you must, when we tackle My Landlord is a Sentient Fungus, and His Spores Turn Me On, Dear Lord.
Sounds like Tuesday night at my place. You've been listening to Heart Book Radio. Don't touch that dial, unless it's sticky.